Loria was a proud landlady on planet Verelnine. She ran a clean and quiet boarding house in the center of the alien city of Katren. Her tenants were polite, rule-following species from nearby systems. None of them ever caused trouble. None of them were human until today. The knock came in the middle of the red sky afternoon. Loria opened the door and gasped softly. A tall figure stood there. Broad-shouldered, strange-looking, with soft skin and a warm smile. He had no scales, no horns, and only 2 eyes, round and deep brown. "Hi, I'm John," the creature said kindly. "I saw your ad for a room." Loria blinked twice, trying not to stare at his flat face. His voice was deep, yet not threatening. Still, she felt unsure. She had heard stories about humans wild, emotional, unpredictable. She had never met one before. "You're a human," she said slowly, her voice cautious. John chuckled. "That obvious, huh?" She hesitated, then stepped aside. "Come in," she said. The boarding house was clean and simple. The walls were made of smooth, violet stone. Glowing softly, each room had a sleep pod, a refresh station, and basic furniture. John looked around. With curiosity, "I don't need much," he said. "Just somewhere quiet. I'm working at the embassy nearby." Loria tilted her head. "You work for the human government." John nodded. "Just a technician, nothing important." He smiled again. And she noticed something strange. His teeth were small, but sharp-looking. Not like any herbivore she knew, but his eyes were kind. She handed him the lease. "No loud music, no weapons, no slime, trailing," she said firmly, then added, "and no strange smells." John laughed. "I'll try my best." She gave him room 3C, second floor, right corner. It had the best view of the stars. John thanked her and carried his small bag inside. That night, everything was quiet at first. Loria prepared her evening meal, a bowl of hot sorrel moss and boiled root wine. She had almost forgotten about the human when a strange sound echoed through the hallway. Thump, then again, thump thump. She froze. Her long ears twitched. It was coming from room 3C. Was he jumping? Was something moving in there? She crept down the hallway, as silent as a feather spider. The door was slightly open. A dim light spilled out into the hallway. Inside, she saw the human lying in his bed, reading on a flat device. But then under his blankets, something moved. Long. Slow, like a hidden serpent shifting under the fabric. Her heart pounded. She stepped back quickly. Eyes wide. Did he smuggle in a pet? A hidden predator? Or was that thing part of his body? She hurried back to her room and locked the door. Her breathing was fast, her mind racing. That thing was alive. She whispered to herself. It moved on its own. She activated her scanner and pulled up a guide on human anatomy, but the deep images confused her even more. The human body was strange, with soft flesh and strange curves, and some parts looked unstable. She closed the scanner in horror. "His body hides a monster," she whispered. "And I let him into my house." She tried to sleep that night, but her eyes kept opening. Every noise made her flinch. Was it moving again? Was it crawling? Through the walls? By morning, her nerves were stretched thin. John came down to the kitchen, wearing a plain shirt and loose pants. He smiled and said, "Morning." Loria stared at him, eyes narrowed. Her voice was shaky. "Is it still inside?" "You?" John blinked. "Huh." She took a deep breath. The thing. The long one. Under the sheet, there was silence. John's face turned red, almost purple. Then he laughed, but stopped quickly when he saw her serious expression. "Oh," he said, "that's not a monster." She leaned back, horrified. "It's alive, John." Didn't know what to say. Loria backed away slowly. "Your body hides a monster," she said in horror and awe, and the door slammed shut between them. Loria sat in her room with the lights dimmed low. Her fingers shook as she held her data tablet, replaying what she saw again and again in her mind. That human John was smiling like everything was normal, but she had seen it. That thing. That beast hiding under his blanket. It moved, she whispered to herself. It moved on its own. She didn't sleep much that night. Every creak of the floor made her ears twitch. Every shadow looked like something crawling. She kept her door locked and a jar of Zap peppers near her bed, just in case. By morning, she was exhausted but determined. She had to be sure. Maybe it was a parasite. Maybe it had wrapped around his body and taken control. She waited until John left for his work at the embassy. As soon as the door clicked shut, Laria dashed out of her room. Her small feet moved fast across the smooth floor. She had only a short time before he returned. She reached room 3C, her long fingers hovering over the panel. She hacked the lock with her administrator code and slipped inside. The room was quiet and warm. There was a faint human scent, clean, but different. Her eyes scanned the room quickly. The bed was made, the sheets neat, no signs of the monster. But then she spotted his clothes on the chair, a towel hanging nearby. She pulled out her multi-species scanner and pointed it at the fabric. The screen lit up. Warning, unknown organic material detected. Her heart jumped, the scanner beeped. Again, possibly attached to host. She stepped back, breathing fast. It's real, she muttered. The monster is real. Suddenly, the hallway door opened. Hey, John called, stepping inside. I forgot my badge. Laria froze. In place, caught in the middle of his room, holding his towel in one hand and the scanner in the other. John blinked, confused. What are you doing? She turned, eyes wide. You're infected. John's face turned red again. What? Laria pointed the scanner at him. Don't move. I know there's a creature inside you. He looked down at himself. Then, at her, you mean? That? He asked awkwardly, gesturing toward his pants. She nodded quickly. Yes, the long, wriggling beast under the cloth. John let out a nervous laugh. Laria, it's not a beast. She stepped back. Don't lie. I saw it move. It's part of me, he said carefully. It's normal for human males. Laria stared in disbelief. That cannot be normal. John scratched the back of his head, looking extremely uncomfortable. Look, it's hard to explain, but it's not dangerous, I promise. She didn't lower the scanner. Is it intelligent? No, he said quickly. It doesn't talk. It doesn't have a mind. It just reacts sometimes. Her mind raced. A reactive body beast. What kind of species would allow such a thing to live inside them? Does it come off? She asked. Eyes wide, no, John said with a half laugh. It's permanent. It's biological. She was quiet for a long time, then said, I need to report this to the local council. What? No, please don't, John said quickly. They'll just laugh, or worse. Think I'm dangerous. You are? She said seriously. You have a living beast hiding inside your lower body. John sighed. Laria, I promise you, it's nothing to be afraid of. Humans are just built this way. But why? She asked, what purpose does it serve? John looked away. Reproduction, he said awkwardly. Laria blinked twice. Her cheeks turned pale blue. That's how you breed. Yeah, he muttered. Can we stop talking about it now? She looked down at the scanner, then at him again, slowly lowering it. John gave a small smile. Look, I know it's weird to you, but I'm not here to cause trouble. I just wanted a quiet place to stay. Laria didn't respond. Her mind was still trying to process everything. She nodded slowly and backed out of the room. As the door closed, she whispered, he has a hidden creature that reacts when he's calm or excited. She sat in her office, tapping her claws on the table. She knew she should tell someone, but a strange feeling held her back. Was it? Curiosity. She opened her datapad and typed into the search bar. Human lower body anatomy explained. The results loaded, and she stared at the screen in silence. This species is chaos, she whispered, eyes wide. And I let it rent room 3C. The next morning, Gloria stood at the front desk, her claws twitching nervously. Her eyes kept glancing up the stairs toward room 3C. The human hadn't come down yet, and her mind was still spinning from yesterday's discovery. She had seen it. With her own eyes, the long living thing hidden under his cloth. Moving like it had its own will, and yet he claimed it was normal for his kind. Gloria didn't know whether to believe him or not. But she did know one thing. She couldn't keep this to herself any longer. As the sun's spiral rose higher, the doorbell chimed. It was her neighbor and old friend, Brunta Tall, a white alien with scales the color of burnt copper. "Gloria," Brunta said warmly, "I brought you fresh shell fruit." Gloria forced a smile. "Thank you, Brunta. I need to speak with you." Brunta raised an eyebrow. "Is something wrong?" Gloria leaned forward and whispered, "I rented a room to a human." Brunta's eyes widened. "One of them? Are they dangerous?" "That's just it," Gloria whispered. "He looks harmless. He's polite and soft-spoken. But I saw something." She looked around to make sure no one was listening. Then she leaned even closer. "There's a creature inside him," she said. "It hides under his clothes." "But it moves," Brunta gasped. "A parasite." "I don't know," Gloria replied. "He says it's part of his body. He says it's natural." Brunta's voice dropped to a low hiss. "Did it try to escape?" "No, but it reacted to something," Gloria said. "It shifted when he was calm or maybe happy. I don't understand it." Brunta nodded slowly. "This must be shared." Later that afternoon, Brunta visited the local market. Her sharp tongue couldn't stay silent for long. She told a friend who told another, and by sunset, the rumor had spread across 4 blocks. By the next day, nearly every alien in the neighborhood had heard the tale. The human hides a serpent in his trousers? No, it's a mind-controlling worm. My cousin said it grows when he gets angry. No, it grows when he's interested. Everyone had a different theory, but all agreed on one thing: the human was dangerous. Back at the boarding house, John came downstairs for breakfast, yawning. He poured himself a cup of warm stem juice and looked around. The common room was strangely empty. Normally, other tenants would be chatting or watching holoscreens. Today, the chairs were pushed far from his table. He frowned. "Morning," he said to a passing tenant. The alien flinched and hurried away. John blinked. Weird. He sat and started eating, but he could feel eyes watching him. Behind doors, from hallways, even through vents. Whispers followed him, later when he stepped outside to get supplies. A group of alien children pointed and giggled. "That's him," one said. "The one with the trouser monster?" John nearly choked. "Wait, what?" An old alien grandmother hobbled past and said in awe, "May your inner beast sleep peacefully today." He stood frozen on the sidewalk. A bag of groceries in one hand? What the hell is going on? When he returned to the house, Gloria was at the door waiting. Her face looked guilty. "John," she said softly, "we need to talk." He sighed and stepped inside. "Is this about the rumors?" "Because everywhere I go, someone calls me beast host or snake bearer." She nodded. "I may have told Brunta, and she may have told a few others." "A few?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "I didn't expect it to spread so fast," she admitted. "This neighborhood hasn't seen a human before." He sat down, rubbing his forehead. "Great, I'm the alien freak show now." She looked down. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shame you." John looked at her for a moment, then laughed softly. "Honestly, it's kind of funny." She blinked. "You're not angry?" I mean, a little embarrassed? Yeah, he said. But if this is the worst thing that happens during my posting here, I'll survive. She hesitated. You're? Very calm for someone being called a monster. He smiled. Humans have. Thick skin, Loria tilted her head. Do all human males have it? He nodded. Yes, all of us. She bit her lip, then said, Does it hurt when it changes? John choked on his juice. No, not really. Can we not talk about that again? She nodded quickly, her cheeks turning pale blue again. But as he stood up to head back to his room, she glanced at him again, not with fear, but with something else, curiosity. And the whispers outside only grew louder that night. Loria woke. To the sound of loud knocking at the door, she shuffled toward the front hall, still rubbing the sleep from her eyes when she opened the door. Her breath caught in her throat. 3 tall figures stood there, all wearing black uniforms with glowing silver badges, the Alien Biological Hazard Unit, or a BHU Loria, landlady of this residence. The leader asked, his voice sharp and official. Yes, she said, confused and nervous. Can I help you? We received multiple reports of a dangerous life form being hidden inside a human body in your building. Her heart skipped. You? Mean John. The agent nodded. We are here to investigate. Please cooperate, without waiting for her reply. The agents stepped inside. Their boots clicked on the stone floor. Their scanners were already humming. Where is the human now? The second agent asked. Loria hesitated. Room 3C, upstairs. The leader tapped his wrist device. Prepare the bioseal before Loria could warn John. The agents were already moving. They stomped up the stairs like a hunting squad. Doors along the hallway opened slightly as curious tenants peeked out. Loria followed quickly. Her hands shaking. She didn't mean for it to go this far. John had just stepped out of the shower. Towel wrapped around his waist when the door slammed. Open. Don't move. One of the agents barked, pointing a scanner directly at his chest. Whoa. John jumped back, holding his towel tighter. What is going on? You are harboring a Class 4 organic entity in your lower body. The agent stated. We are. Here to isolate and study it? What? No. This is a misunderstanding, John said. Panicked. It's not an entity. It's just me. The scanner beeped rapidly. The display showed heat, blood flow, and a long shape in his pelvic area. Look, it reacts to stimuli, the agent said. See? It moved when he raised his voice. Loria stood at the doorway, biting her lip. I tried to explain it was part of his anatomy. John groaned. Oh my God, not again. We will need to perform a full body scan, said the lead agent. Remove the towel. Nope. John stepped back, eyes wide. Not happening. This is a serious investigation. The second agent warned. Yeah, and this is serious trauma. John shot back, holding the towel tighter. You barge into my room and want me to strip for science? The agents looked at each other. One of them whispered, He's resisting, possibly aggressive. I'm not resisting. I'm just trying to keep my dignity, John said, voice strained. Loria stepped forward. Maybe we can use a visual. Simulator, let him stay clothed. Just scan his biology safely. The agents hesitated. Then the leader nodded. Fine, bring the portable colonizer. A minute later, a floating orb hovered into the room. It buzzed and blinked as it scanned John's body from a distance, projecting a glowing hologram of his internal structure in the air. The entire hallway had gone silent. Tenants were watching from behind doors as the human form appeared in full detail. The room grew awkwardly quiet. There it is, whispered one agent, the beast. John buried his face in his hands. Can I please move now? The orb beeped again, and the scanner finished. No separate brainwaves detected, the lead agent muttered. No external intelligence. So, it's not a parasite? The second agent asked. Loria stepped beside them, still staring at the image. It's a natural part of him. John looked at all of them. Told you so. The agents finally backed away. One of them cleared his throat. We apologize for the disturbance. Yay, think? John muttered, pulling on his shirt. I'd like to file a complaint. That is your right. The lead agent replied. Then they turned and left the room, boots stomping as they exited. Loria stayed behind, watching John as he sat on the edge of his bed, clearly frustrated. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I didn't know the council would send a BHU. John looked up at her with tired eyes. This planet is crazy. She tilted her head. You're not angry with me? I mean, I'm used to aliens misunderstanding humans, he said. But this was extreme. Loria stepped inside, her tone soft. You must feel like an animal on display. John laughed bitterly. Yeah, kind of. She sat on the chair across from him. I'll speak to the council. I'll tell them it was my mistake. He nodded slowly. Thanks. There was a long silence. Then she asked quietly, is it really true? That human males are all like that? John groaned. Please, not again. She gave a small smile. Curiosity is stronger than fear. John looked at her, then laughed. Despite himself, you're something else, Loria. She looked at him, her expression soft. You're something. New John, outside, the gossip was still spreading. But inside room 3C, things were beginning to change. For the next few days, things at the boarding house were quiet, but not normal. John walked through the halls like a shadow. Careful, quiet, always wearing extra layers of clothing. Aliens still whispered behind his back. Some looked at him with fear, others with curiosity, but no one dared speak to him directly, except Loria. She had started knocking on his door in the mornings, offering tea or strange alien snacks. At first, John refused politely, still heard from the ABHU raid. But slowly, he began accepting, sitting with her in the common room, eating in silence. Saying little, one evening, Loria brought him a glowing purple cup. This is made from sleep root, she said. It helps calm the mind. John took the cup. Thanks, she sat across from him. Folding her long legs under her, I've been learning more about human anatomy. John paused, mid-sip. Oh no, not again. She tilted her head. Don't worry, I didn't call the council. He gave a weak smile. That's a relief. Loria leaned forward. I still don't understand why it reacts to emotions, John sighed. Because humans are wired that way. Sometimes our bodies respond even when we don't want them to. She looked curious. So it's not under your control. Not always, he said. It's kind of like how your ears twitch when you're excited or nervous. Loria blinked. They do. He chuckled. Yeah, they do. She reached up to touch one ear, slightly embarrassed. Fascinating, she said softly. So, it reacts to feelings. Yeah, he said, sipping his drink, sometimes to touch, or thoughts, or just being relaxed. Loria looked away, her cheeks turning pale blue again. That sounds powerful, John coughed, nearly spilling his tea. Please don't say it like that. She smiled. I'm sorry, it's just I'm trying to understand. I've lived for 50 years and never met a human before. He nodded. And I've only lived 28, and now I'm the star of the Alien Gossip Network. Loria leaned forward again, voice softer. I know. I embarrassed you, and I'm truly sorry for that. John looked into her eyes. Surprised, her usual sharp, commanding tone was gone. She looked sincere. It's okay, he said finally. I've been through worse, believe it or not. This isn't the strangest thing that's happened to me. She smiled, her ears twitching slightly. I believe it. They sat quietly for a moment, the hum of the building filling the space. Then Loria stood. There's something else. John looked up. Now what? I think others are planning to come back. Not the ABHU, but local scholars. They want to study you. John groaned. Fantastic. More alien scientists asking about my pants. She stepped closer. I can stop them. I have some influence in this district, but I need to know, truly, is it safe? He looked at her, serious now. Yes, it's not a threat. It's not a weapon. It's not some alien worm. It's just human. She stared at him for a long time, then nodded. That's enough for me. He smiled weakly. Thanks for believing me. I still don't fully understand, she admitted, but maybe I don't need to. As she turned to leave, John called out, Hey, Loria. She stopped. Looking back, You're not afraid anymore? She tilted her head. I was never afraid of you. I was afraid of the unknown. John nodded slowly. Fair enough. That night, the house felt a little less cold, a little more like home. John lay in his bed, looking up at the strange alien ceiling. He still heard whispers through the vents, but now? Some of them were curious instead of fearful. He smiled to himself. Your body hides a monster. He repeated the words Loria had once said. Then he chuckled. Yeah, but at least it's my monster. In the room below, Loria sat by her window. Watching the stars, she pulled up a new document on her tablet and titled it, Human Biology, What They Don't Tell You in the Academy. She started typing. Entry 1. Not all monsters are dangerous. Some just want breakfast. Asterisk days passed quietly, but Laria's mind was far from quiet. Ever since her deep conversation with John, something had started to change inside her. It wasn't fear anymore. It wasn't even embarrassment. It was something new. Something she hadn't felt in a long time. Curiosity. She found herself thinking about him during the day. Not just about that strange part of his anatomy, but about his voice, his calmness, his kindness, despite everything. She started paying attention to the little things, the way he carried his bag with one hand and a warm drink in the other. The way he smiled politely even when aliens stared at him like he was a zoo animal. At night, she couldn't sleep. She would sit by her data screen and rewatch documentaries about human biology. Most of the content was clinical, scientific, sterile, but every now and then, she found something different. Cultural videos. In one of them, two humans touched lips, their eyes closed, and their bodies pressed close together. Loria blinked, rewound, and watched again. What is that? She whispered. The translation program said it was called kissing. Another video showed a human male removing his shirt slowly while music played. She stared at the screen, feeling her face warm. What is this species? She whispered again. Next morning, she bumped into John in the hallway. He was wearing a simple black shirt and holding a bag of fresh, bread-like food. Morning, he said with a soft smile. Good morning, she replied, her voice slightly higher than usual. They stood in awkward silence for a moment. She looked at the bag. Is that food for the whole week? John shrugged. Nah, just for today. Humans eat a lot. I like to snack. Your metabolism is impressive, she said. I mean, for a species with soft skin and exposed teeth. He chuckled. Well, thanks, I think. She followed him into the common room. Without even realizing, he sat on the couch and opened his food pack. She sat down across from him, watching every move. Loria, he said, between bites, are you okay? She blinked. Yes. Why? You've been looking at me like I'm about to explode. She smiled nervously. I just have questions. He laughed. Of course you do. She leaned forward. Do human males always stay in control of it? John's face turned red immediately. Loria, he said with a groan. I thought we were past this. Kay, I'm asking for educational purposes, she said quickly. It's not fear, it's curiosity. He rubbed his forehead. It's complicated, okay? We try to stay in control, but emotions can affect things. She nodded. writing that down mentally. So, is that why humans prefer to cover their lower bodies with fabric, to protect others from seeing reactions? Yes, he muttered, and to protect ourselves from embarrassment. She tilted her head. Do you ever wish you could turn it off? John blinked. No one's ever asked me that before. He thought for a second, then said, it's part of being human. You just learn to live with it, like sneezing or laughing. She nodded slowly. I understand. Then she looked up again, eyes curious. Can I see it? John choked on his drink, coughing violently. What? I mean, not in a weird way, she said quickly. Hands raised, scientifically, for study. I'm writing a private paper. No, he said, face still red. Loria, I've gone through scanners. I've been examined by agents, and I've had more than enough exposure. She lowered her hands, ears slightly drooping. Understood. There was an awkward silence. Then he said gently, You're not trying to make fun of me, are you? No, she said softly. I just want to know you. John's expression softened. There are other ways to do that, you know, she smiled, such as... He picked up a second pastry and handed it to her. Try this. She took a bite and made a surprised face. It's sweet, yeah, he said. That's how humans share things. Through food, laughter, time, she chewed slowly. That's nice, he nodded. You don't have to understand everything at once. She looked at him carefully, then said, I think I understand enough to say this. What's that? He asked. You're not a monster, she said gently. You're just beautifully strange. John didn't know how to respond to that. So he just smiled, and Loria, for the first time in her life, felt something warm stir in her chest, not fear, not confusion, but something far deeper. The skies above the alien city of Katren turned a deep violet as night fell. Loria stood by the window of her office, watching the two moons rise. Her mind was spinning, not with fear anymore, but with thoughts of John. The human had changed. Everything. He came as a stranger with strange biology. But now, she couldn't imagine the boarding house without him. His laughter echoed in the halls. His presence brought warmth to the cold stone walls. And strangely, he made her feel alive. A knock came at her door. Not loud, just gentle. She opened it and saw John standing there, holding a small, glowing box. Brought you something, he said with a shy smile. She took it carefully. What is it? A human gift tradition, he said. It's chocolate. Something we give to people we care about. Loria stared at the brown substance inside. Is it dangerous? Only to sadness, he joked. She laughed softly and stepped aside. Come in, he entered. Looking around the room, he had never been inside before. It was filled with books, old paintings, and glowing stones. The walls were lined with notes, her research, her thoughts, even sketches of alien anatomy. She pointed to the couch. Sit, he did, and she sat beside him. Holding the box of chocolate, her fingers trembled slightly. I've never received a gift from a human before, she said. You're the first alien I've given one to. He replied. There was silence for a long moment, filled only by the sound of distant wind outside. Then Loria asked softly, John, do you regret coming here? He shook his head. No, it's been strange. Yeah, but not bad. And meeting you has been worth it. Her ears twitched, even after the ABHU raid, even after the rumors. He smiled. You protected me when you didn't have to. You tried to understand me when others were afraid. She looked into his eyes, her voice quiet. And now I'm not afraid anymore. John leaned back, looking at the ceiling. Sometimes I forget I'm the alien here. Loria tilted her head. You're not, she whispered. Not to me. Suddenly, the building shook. A loud crash echoed from below. The lights flickered. What was that? John asked, jumping to his feet. Loria was already moving. Come on. They ran down the hall and into the lower level. Smoke filled the air. A power cable had burst. Sparking against the wall, one of the younger alien tenants screamed, trapped. Under fallen debris, Loria reached out, but the heat from the sparks was too much. "Back up," John said quickly. Without hesitation, he grabbed a metal bar and used it to push the burning debris aside. The sparks jumped dangerously, but he didn't stop. His arms were strong, face focused, muscles flexed as he lifted the beam. He pulled the young alien girl out just in time. Loria grabbed her and rushed her to safety. When it was over, John's hands were covered in soot. His shirt burned in places, but he smiled. "She's safe," he said, breathing hard. Loria looked at him with wide eyes. For a moment, she forgot everything, the rumors, the fear, even the strange biology. All she saw was courage. "You risked your life," she said quietly. John shrugged. It was the right thing to do. She stepped closer, placing her hand gently on his arm. "That monster inside you," she whispered. "It's not in your body." He looked confused. "What do you mean?" "It's in your heart," she said. "Your strength, your kindness, your fire." John blinked, unsure what to say. Then, slowly, she leaned in and touched her forehead to his. The traditional Varelian sign of deep respect and growing affection. He smiled, understanding the meaning without needing translation. From that day on, no one in the city called John a monster again. Instead, they called him the Fire-Blooded, a nickname of honor. Loria never finished her research paper. She didn't need to, because what she found in the human wasn't a scientific mystery. It was something no scanner could measure. Affection, and maybe, something even stronger, love.